America's most exciting radio talk show. The Savage Nation, home of borders, language, culture. And here he is, winner of the National Radio Hall of Fame Award, Michael Savage.
This is no longer dehydration, pneumonia, allergy. She was dropping in the polls. There are theories that abound that no one will ever get to the bottom of. We're still arguing over who killed JFK. So don't expect me to have the definitive answer of what she is suffering from. Some experts have sent me notes. Someone sent me the fact that the Zeiss Z1 blue lenses that she's wearing are not even available in America, but they're used to treat photosensitive epilepsy. She was wearing Zeiss Z1 blue lenses. The fact of the matter is we're not celebrating her illness, whatever it may be, but we, the people, have a right to know what illness she is really suffering from. When I sent this issue from the Epilepsy Foundation, why she was wearing blue glasses the day she collapsed, and we learned that blue glasses are prescribed for patients suffering from light-induced epileptic seizures, I sent it to someone who knows the inside, an anonymous source, who knows this from the inside, and he said, nope. He said, I've said from the start that this is post-concussion syndrome, now probably compounded by a lung infection, coughing. She eats terribly, doesn't rest enough, and while I'm sure she's resting now, part of her also has to be thinking seriously about whether to continue. He says, I don't think she'll drop out, but consider what a loss to Trump would do, meaning if she lost to Trump, and it looks like she will lose. No matter what you're reading in the newspapers, the internal polls of the Democrat criminal machine are telling them that she is a loser. Trump is coming in for a strong close. She's faltering, and they're feeling that they better throw someone else in who has a chance to beat him. That's another theory. And for her and her loss, what the smart money is saying, it's better to use health as a means to bow out rather than drag the Clinton brand and the Dems down with her. Well, maybe that's premature. But the fact of the matter is, can you imagine her debating Donald Trump and going into a coughing fit or some sort of seizure during the debates? Now, there's a risk here for everybody on all sides of this issue. You don't attack anyone who's sick. If you do, then you're a pure Democrat liberal slimeball of the type that Hillary spoke to the other night, who laughed when she said that you and I are deplorables. All I can say to all of you people who think you're better than us, well, I can't say it on the radio. It's a national show. But you're not better than us. We're the people who do everything in this country. You do nothing but laugh at us. And so to all of you who do nothing and who have been alienated by Obama's horrendous policies, here's a little message. Hello, deplorables. Hello, deplorables out there. Hello, deplorables out there. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it was Hillary Clinton in front of her friends, her very, very, very close friends at the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender meeting the other night, where she sneered at all of us who support Donald Trump as a group of deplorables. And when she goes into the riff of the phobics, I want you to hear her speaking in code. When she says the phobic thing, it's like an internal code amongst that crowd of how they speak to each other. You see what happened here? What happened here is she felt very much at home with her very close friends at the LGBT dinner. And she was talking to them as though they were just amongst themselves. Apparently she slipped and she didn't realize it was being recorded. And what she said about deplorables, I understand, was not even in the script. She went off script. So something was interfering with her meds to begin with. Here she is with the famous basket of deplorables speech, which preceded the slip and fall. Listen carefully.
You could put half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables.
Come back with the song.
Xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it. But that other basket of people are people who feel the government has let them down, the economy has let them down, nobody cares about them. Unfortunately, there are people like that. And he has lifted them up. He has given voice to their websites that used to only have 11,000 people, now have 11 million. At the very least, if you know anybody who's even thinking about voting for Trump, stage an intervention.
Yeah, Hillary, you know, you really ought to watch the meds. Someone ought to titrate you a little better. Don't know whether it's thyroxine. We don't know what they did, but someone messed with her meds. So that's why I'm playing some Afro-Cuban music, because it's nothing to do with the campaign. So she said they had 11,000 people on the websites, and now they have 11 million. The last I checked, Drudge has 1.4 billion per month. Where'd she get 11,000? Oh, I'm sorry. The number 11, the magic number 11. The same 11 million illegal aliens that have been here for 30 years. They started that 15 years ago. There are 11 million illegal aliens that we must bring into the fold. 11 million, and that hasn't changed? 10 years ago, I told you it was over 30 million. What is it now under, criminal, lie? So it went from 11,000 to 11 million all of a sudden. Now even Coked Up Roberts is floating that the Dems are nervously whispering about Clinton stepping aside. Coked Up Roberts, apparently, is someone who works in the major media who really isn't seen very much anymore. But they drug up Coked Up Roberts. No relationship to Julia or her brother, who may have been at the dinner or may not have been at the dinner. I don't know. But Coked Up Roberts floated that the Dems are nervously whispering about Clinton stepping aside. Listen to O2.
People are angry at the lack of transparency. It was hours before the pneumonia diagnosis was revealed after seeing this incredibly damaging video of her being helped and stumbling into a van. And look, there's a reason why the campaign's not transparent. Obviously, it gives Trump ammunition. And then he knew at some point in the campaign schedule that she, like all candidates, would get exhausted. But the fact that it comes now, when the polls are tightening and Democrats were already saying that Hillary was the only candidate who could not beat Trump, and it's taking her off of the campaign trail, it has them very nervously beginning to whisper about having her step aside and finding another candidate.
Well, that, my friends, really is the introduction to today's radio talk show. It's called a talk show. It means I usually talk, but it really is a talk show, and no one in America who has a brain is talking about anything other than this topic. Whether it's in taxi cabs in New York City or lobbies in Manhattan, lobbies in San Francisco, immigrants alike, native people alike, everyone is whispering about Hillary fainting, Hillary falling down like a slab of meat. I mean, if you look at it carefully, this woman went dead like she was, when someone's knocked out, they go limp? The legs were dragged. The shoe came off. They threw her in like a side of beef. It's not a pretty thing to watch. This is an older woman, and we wish her a speedy recovery. However, this woman is in trouble, and we need to talk about it, and even the Dems are talking about it. So you look at the Drudge Report, it says, Dems ready for Kaine, waiting in bullpen. That's an interesting discussion unto itself, because we're all going to take a close look at this weirdo, Kaine, who looks, if you put makeup on Kaine, he would look like in the movie with the Freddy, with the clown, with the nightmare. He's one of the most unappealing white men that God ever created on earth. I personally think that Trump could wipe the floor with the communist Kaine. I'll tell you who a real threat is. It's Joe Biden. The reason Biden is a bigger threat to Trump is very simple. Biden may be goofy, but he's likable. He also has very little baggage around him, other than his gaffes and his goofs. He's a likable schmendrick Uncle Joe, even though he's a far-left radical like Hillary is. He's not quite as toxic as Hillary is, because he's not seen that much. Every time he talks, of course, he puts his horse and foot mouth disease in the mouth. But the fact is, I think that Biden would be a much graver threat to Trump than Kaine. Kaine is a non-entity. No one ever heard of him. He has a severely radical background. If you look at the link from the Hill, Tim Kaine's Radical Roots, it's right under my scorched earth notice on Drudge. I expect me not to mention it. I wake up to the heaviest artillery in the history of the media, the Drudge Report, and I see my book cover, Scorched Earth, the day before it comes out, Book Warns of American Dark Ages, Savage Sounds Alarm. I'll get into that as well, because we are one bad election away from losing America. Yes, we are. It is not just hyperbole. We're one election away from losing America. But you go below the book cover, and what you see is Tim Kaine's Radical Roots, and you'll see why he's quite vulnerable in any debates because of his background. He is a far-left activist. He has the radical connections to Latin America. He has Soviet sympathies in the days when the Soviets were all-powerful. He is more likely like Karl Marx than Jesus Christ, even though he espouses a sort of a revolutionary theology that's related to Christianity. The fact of the matter is, while he was in Honduras, Mr. Kaine embraced an interpretation of the gospel known as liberation theology, identical to that of who? Who pushed liberation theology? It was none other than the black preacher who Obama sat and listened to for 20 straight years, who said God hates America. He said much worse than that. Kaine is from the exact same cut of cloth. It was not mainstream Catholic thought at the time. It may be mainstream Catholic thought under this Vatican leadership, but it was not Catholic thought at the time. It was radical Marxist-based ideology at odds with the Catholic Church. It was at odds with the Pope. It was at odds with the American people. But it was supportive of, and frankly supported by the Soviet Union. Of course, the Vatican today agrees with the liberation theology of Reverend Wright and Barack Obama, and of course now Tim Kaine. And that's why Tim Kaine would be vulnerable in the election if he should be chosen. Whereas Biden has almost nothing attached to him that would stick to him. He's kind of a friendly white guy, like the uncle everyone knows, the blue-collar guy that got left behind by, of the type that Hillary talks about. In fact, if you put a blue-collar on, what's his name, Biden, over Biden, if you put a blue-collar shirt on over Biden and gave him a lunch pail, he'd look like one of those out-of-work guys in Ohio or Pennsylvania that Trump seems to be attracting. So that leads us to questions. You all want to vent today. I know that. You all have something to say about your ideas, the conspiracies. Will she survive? Was it her 9/11? Who will replace her? Is it Kaine? Is it Biden? Is it the commie with the seltzer bottle, whatever his name is? I forgot already. Colonel Sanders' illegitimate offspring. Questions for you on the Savage Nation. Who will replace Hillary if she drops out? Who could defeat Trump, Biden, Sanders, or Kaine? Do you believe the pneumonia excuse? I don't at all. I think that's a made-up lie because she was seen hugging children right after the event of the slab of meat event. The legs went out from under her. The poor woman lost a shoe on the street. They threw her in the car. And then what, she's seen hugging children? Why does she lie about everything? If she was ill with pneumonia, why was she seen hugging a child when sick? Don't you understand that it means now all the Secret Service agents and all of her staff members and everyone at 9/11 around her could have gotten pneumonia from her? Moreover, if she did get pneumonia, let's say that the cover story is true, where'd she get it from? Exhaustion? That's an important question. Or did she get it from one of the illegal aliens she's been hugging and kissing on the road to the White House? Maybe she got it from shaking Nancy Pelosi's hand, who was seen washing the feet of illegal aliens. Look, it's no joke. When someone gets sick, the right thing to do is wish them well, which we do. Her politics are abominable. They're the most anti-American politics since Barack Obama. But the fact of the matter is, this is the number one story.
You could put half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables.
Ooh, shame on you.
Right?
Right? Stand-up comedy.
The racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it.
Obamaphobic. Add Obamaphobic. Add Hillary-phobic. Add Clinton Foundation-phobic. Add all the other phobias that we all suffer from. And you and your friends there suffer no phobias? How about straitophobia? How about heterophobia? How about Christophobia? How about xenophobia? You know, it goes two ways, Hillary. And you do owe the American people an apology. You're the greatest divider since Barack Obama, and that's saying a lot. The entire group that she just put down by calling you deplorable, and I'm going to repeat it over and over again because she's never apologized. Now, either she can't apologize because she's too sick to do so, or she doesn't really want to apologize. If you think about the metrics, she actually believes you're deplorable. Think about it. She doesn't need your vote. She wasn't going to get it anyway, she figured. So this is the deplorable, the entire country music audience out there, the NASCAR audience, the entire military, The entire police across America, all deplorable to her. Well, my friends, there's a lot to talk about. Who will replace her if she drops out? I frankly don't think she's going to drop out.